Hello, hi, I'm Sivan from Newsrael, and we're speaking with White House investigative reporter for Anti-Semitism and Freedom of Religion, Dr. Anthony Harper. Dr. Harper, you've been speaking with Press Secretary Jen Psaki in what, as I understand from you, wasn't an easy conversation about what's going on in Israel. I can tell you from our side that Israel is burning, violence is raging by Israeli Arab population, and Hamas is constantly launching rockets at Israel. What is the White House approach and response to these events?
Well, at this point, we've heard President Biden here say that he's supporting de-escalation, but also the press secretary said that he is for a Palestinian state as a solution. But Israel knows very clearly that giving away more land does not produce peace. Here is the example of Gaza, withdrawing from Gaza, and see what has happened.
So what is his direct reaction? Does he condemn the events? What does he have to say?
There is no clear condemnation from President Biden here. No condemnation to the aggression of Hamas. So I'm here to get answers to these questions. I've been promised another meeting. Of course, I had a private meeting with the press secretary last week in her office about concerns of anti-Semitism. She's promised to give me answers by today. So I'm eagerly awaiting those answers.
And what do you think the answers will be about what is happening now in Israel?
Well, the answers are about addressing different forms of anti-Semitism in the forms of the BDS and the Jewish cemetery desecrations like in Vilnius, Lithuania, or deals with Iran. Iran is definitely a hater of Israel, is the main supporter of terrorism, funding Hamas and Hezbollah, and so much other, I would say, wickedness in this case. But the U.S. I would say the Israel ambassador and many others were still waiting to know about their response, especially the Israel ambassador of the U.S., which, to my knowledge, hasn't been chosen yet. There's a lot of unanswered questions here, not to mention human rights issues and impact on children that are being killed here in abortion.
What you're saying is that, well, what we're saying is that it's been a week of constant violence in Israel, and it's rapidly escalating, and also troops have been recruited, reserve work troops, and the ground is burning. And what you're saying, the factor is that there is no response, there is no direct condemnation from the U.S. government, and there is no direct response for these events.
Along with this, Savannah, is the issue about President Biden asking the PA Authority, Palestinian Authority, Abbas, for him to condemn violence, for him to stop asking for violence. That is a really big issue, and we need answers from the administration. There's going to be a press conference today, and I hope that these answers will be addressed, and I get all the answers that I need, that I've requested regarding anti-Semitism here.
What happens? What do you think will happen if things escalate? Which stand do you think the Biden administration will take if this actually becomes a war?
Well, Saban, recently President Biden pulled American troops out of Israel. Just here yesterday, the day before. This is a bad sign that in the midst of Israel's crisis, that U.S. troops have been withdrawn, at least 100 troops, when they should have been there to be supportive of Israel. But we need to know what he's planning to do to fully support our ally Israel in this matter. And we don't really have a clear reason why he pulled out these U.S. troops.
What is your opinion? Yeah, it's a bad sign, you're right. But what in your opinion would have been an appropriate approach? And how do you think former President Trump would have reacted to these events?
Well, the most appropriate response would have not to have been pulling out those troops. That was a bad signal, a bad sign. And President Trump would not have allowed this to happen. Matter of fact, Hamas and Hezbollah wouldn't be acting up so much, or Palestinian Authority leader as well, if President Trump were still in his position. He was very strong on the issue of support of Israel.
So you think that it wouldn't have escalated to this state?
I'm convinced that it would not have escalated to this point, but only the God of Israel understands this issue fully. And I hope that people really pay attention to this Israel. There is a special blessings for those that bless Israel.
Okay, Dr. Anthony Harper. So tomorrow you will get answers, hopefully, from the state secretary, the press secretary, sorry, and hopefully we will have more information. Thank you very much.
We welcome. May God bless and protect Israel.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Great to join you. Thank you.
We read news every day, news that's informative but rarely encouraging. The Intermountain Christian newspaper aims to change that. They present the news you need to know, from what's going on in your community to your world, with encouraging words, motivation, and the resources you need to make positive changes in your life. What is your local government doing that you need to know about? What's happening in your community you need to be a part of? Whether it's a story from your neighborhood, a national story, or an encouraging word, you'll find biblical issues of everyday life in the Intermountain Christian newspaper. Intermountain Christian News is produced and supported by the work and donations of individuals and churches. You'll find it at churches, Christian bookstores, by subscription, and online at imcnews.org. To find out more about supporting this local resource, go online at imcnews.org or call Intermountain Christian News in Boise, Idaho at 208-703-8688. The Intermountain Christian News, a voice sharing the truth on matters dear to people's hearts.